The sky turned black, the stars fell down. United we stand, but we're losing ground. One world beneath the iron fist. Voices silenced, they cease to resist. Echoes of hope in the darkening night, fading whispers of a long lost life. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust. A phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. The sirens wail through the desolate towns. Once proud nations painted in the scars of the crown. A single army marching on our dreams. Unity forged in despair, or so it seems. Nothing left but shadows drifting away as the last embers of freedom decay. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust. A phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. One global army, together we stand. In the fall of the world, we'll make our last stand.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. And you know what time it is. It's Into the Red Rabbit Hole with Nighthawk and Eric. And I'm Nighthawk. I'm behind the scenes right now. Just Obey, There Are No Secrets is up on the screen. And I've got a secret. I've got a couple secrets. And I'm going to be disclosing some of that tonight to everybody. So hopefully everybody has a good day and we'll have an even better night. So that being said, I'm going to get into the disclaimer. This channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the Fair Use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976, which makes allowances for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and let's not forget the entertainment value, because we're all about that in this channel. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the Fair Use. All right, that being said, all the music on this channel and all the intro and outros on this channel are sole ownership of William Nighthawk and Nighthawk Studios podcast channel. Okay. So that being said, YouTube, You can't give me a copyright strike on my own music. So that is it. And I'm going to get into the comment section. I'm going to pop something else up on the screen for you all to see while I say hello to everybody. And here it is. Well, I'm going to do a couple of them. First off, this is the whole purpose of tonight right here. Okay. You will remember everything. Eventually.
We just lost William, so we'll wait for him to come back on and see what's going on. Meow. Well, where you at? You don't have to be. I don't have to hold you all the time. I don't. I don't have to hold you all the time. So we'll just kind of kick in here. He's starting to come back in, so we'll give him a few minutes to kind of load up and oh my God, what is wrong with this stupid thing?
I told you guys they were going to mess with us
I
tonight.
shut you off like several times, and my dang speaker keeps kicking on by itself. There he is.
Yeah, well, you know, they're kicking me off too. So they don't want this shit exposed. That's exactly what it is. And I'm starting to get really pissed off about this whole thing. So everybody, I'm going to take the damn rabbit off the freaking corner, and I'm putting something else up there because it's going to get livid tonight. It's going to get freaking irate. It's going to get livid. So here you go. Parental advisory. Okay. Because the words are going to fly tonight. Okay. I've had it with the idiots that think that they control and can silence people that speak out about this shit. These wars and all that are going on and rumors of wars is bullshit. Okay. Literally bullshit. All right. And I'm going to go through tonight and I'll prove it to you. Okay. We're going to talk about what we used to be. Okay. How we used to be before the fall. Okay. And the bloodlines and what's going on with the bloodlines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another picture up here, and I'm going to play a video for you all to watch as I put this up. Let me see here. Let me find the right picture here. Okay, the hidden bloodlines. All right. And give me 1 second. I'm going to play a video for you. Everything that we are dealing with in society as a whole today, everyone, I want you to realize that it's all connected to the problems between the two bloodlines. Okay. It's not between countries. It's not between religions. It's not between colors of skin. You know, it's none of that. Okay. It is between the two bloodlines, the two fractions that are in control and have always been in control of a simulated world that we live in. And we'll get into that. So I'm going to play something here for you, explaining a little bit about what I mean about the bloodlines, and with two other researchers that I've been, you know, working with and researching with and all that on the same subjects. And you'll be amazed. So just watch these two short videos. One's like 3 minutes. The other one's like a minute long. Okay. And it'll help open your eyes a little bit, or at least explain some things that I may overlook. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play them.
You will never guess who this man descends from. Let's take a look into the bloodlines of the Anunnaki. These ancient gods, they used to use men to carry out their battles and wars. This battle never ended. You're going to get a certain understanding now who this man descends from and why everything in his life seems to be designed to push him towards success. Why has he achieved all this power? I'm talking about Donald Trump. A man that sparks either admiration or outrage, depending on who you ask. But this story is not about politics. It's about bloodlines and agendas, hidden ones. One that goes back way before the founding of America, even before the Roman Empire. According to ancient Mesopotamian texts, there were sky beings known as the Anunnaki. those who from the heavens came to earth. They weren't myths to the Sumerian. They were the gods. They were real physical beings who ruled over mankind and left behind symbols, temples, and blood. One of their leaders was Enlil. He was a powerful and often very strict figure. He was known as the Lord of the Command, and some believe that he was the original inspiration for Zeus, with his white platinum blonde hair, thunderous presence, and absolute power. He was the ultimate authority on Earth. His children, it's said, were spread across Earth to maintain the order. Now, over time, his bloodline mingled with others. Therefore, it became very hard to trace. But hard does not mean impossible. Blonde hair, Northern European features, strong will to dominate and lead. These are the traits linked to the Enlil line. When researchers started tracing elite family lines, they discovered that there were these hidden royal bloodlines. And that's when something strange happened. They realized that there are a lot of royal descendants that are not royal at all. This is where the Trump family popped up again and again and again, tied to not just Germanic and Scottish roots, but to far older lineages. Some of these lineages are what is whispered in esoteric circles. You know, the ones that have off-world origins. Even more fascinating, this is all tied to the Pleiadians, a race of tall, fair-skinned humanoids, which are often reported to have communicated with humans. These are extraterrestrials that are often reported in contact cases. Now, it's believed that they are descendants or somehow connected to the Anunnaki bloodlines as well. And it is said that they protect the Enlil bloodline. They will do everything to protect this bloodline and to avoid its extinction, nudging them towards influence during key moments in history. And that brings us to now. Because while the world sees the Middle Eastern wars as political or religious, some researchers claim that these conflicts are actually the continuation of these ancient feuds between Enkyites and Enlilites, the factions between the two half-brothers, the two Anunnaki brothers that disagreed on the fate of mankind. Enki, the geneticist, wanted to empower mankind. Enlil, the general, wanted to control them. That battle, they say, never ended, just went underground through royal bloodlines, secret councils. Now one could say, in this time and era, geopolitics. So when I see a man like Trump rise against all odds, commanding attention, defying the norm, and shaking up these global systems, maybe it's not just a political strategy. Maybe it's destiny or a pushed destiny. The echo of ancient wars that are still being played out to this day. Not in the heavens, but right here on Earth, through the sons of the gods. This raises a lot of questions. So if Trump is of the Enlil line, then the other side is of the Enki line? And what if we've gotten it all wrong? What if the one brother that is presented as the nice one ends up being the opposite? So many possibilities, so many questions. What do you think about it? Is Trump a descendant of the Enlil line? And what does this mean for us?
Well, I want to make a quick point of view on this whole thing with the bloodline, especially with this specific bloodline. All I got to say is if you take in factor the reported incident of when Nikola Tesla passed away, who recovered all of his totes, over 100 of them, and only 80 of them were returned to the government where Nikola Tesla was from, the country. Okay, there was 20 to 25 totes of his information that was missing. Now, who would find that information valuable? That would be the bloodline of an Anunnaki. Okay, the bloodline of the older brother of the Anunnakis, not Enki, but Enlil. Okay, also take into consideration the Palladian features of the Trump family, okay, and several other families that are involved in the political realm, okay. and then you take in the fact of all the other videos that we see of almost seemingly seeing reptilians in disguise in political positions. So there has been a battle going on for ages. Okay, for ages, folks. And if you think that, for one instance, that the Trump bloodline and ones that, and political families that look like him and his bloodline aren't Palladian, then I throw out one word, and that's barren. Just look at Barron Trump. He's the spitting image of a Palladian, plain and simple. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to play the next one and how this all leads into the hidden blood wars and between Enlil and Enki and where their descendants are and how we can figure out who they are and who's related to who by suggestions, okay, that are given to us through ancient text. Okay. The next video is going to explain a little bit more in depth from another researcher that I've been working with, and they are phenomenal as far as research goes into bloodlines and all that, especially what we call the dragon bloodline. Okay, which is the dragon bloodline is literally the bloodline of Enki. Okay, literally. Okay, some people call him Lucifer, some people call him the devil, some people call him Satan. You know, it doesn't matter what you call them, they're all the same individual. Okay, literally, like we've always said, it's just multiple names from different regions. Okay, and we'll get into all that tonight, but this is going to tell you a little bit how about the bloodlines play into the simulation that we're seeing today, the weird stuff in the skies, those round orbs, the metal orbs you see in the sky that are actually holographic imaging devices of the shadow governments, okay, around the world, literally putting a holographic image above our heads, and we don't even know it. That's with the incorporation of 5G and 6G that's already been installed. So that being said, I'm going to play this 1 minute video about the simulation and the connection, and it'll help you understand a little bit more of where we're going with this. And then we're going to open up for discussion, okay?
The world you see, the air you breathe, the you that thinks it is real, none of it exists the way you believe it does. This isn't life. This is a containment system, a construct so perfect that you never even question it, a prison so advanced that it convinces you it isn't there. And the worst part, you built it? All religions have told you the truth, but only in pieces, hidden beneath layers of distortion. The Gnostics whispered of the demiurge, a false god who created this world as a counterfeit, a deception, a parasite feeding on your energy, trapping you in an endless loop of suffering, keeping you too weak, too blind to see the cage. Hinduism speaks of Maya, the illusion so powerful that even gods can be trapped within it. The Bhagavad Gita warns that most souls remain asleep, ensnared by desire, forever reincarnating, never escaping. Buddhism tells of samsara, the endless cycle of rebirth, suffering, and death, repeating like a corrupted file, looping until you awaken and escape. Christianity was gutted, rewritten.
Now you take for instance that short clip there and how it's connected through religion and through the simulation theory, and you compare it with the bloodline wars, and you have the exact same representation. Okay, when we talk about the bloodline wars, we're talking about ancient bloodline that, you know, some of it has been diluted over time, apparently. You know, I mean, that's apparent. Okay, we know that for a fact, but some of it has been not lost at all. Okay, not at all. And the demiurge and the archons are part of the reptilian simulation. Okay, now the Gnostics got it right on several key points. Okay, and every religion in the world got it right on a couple key points. Okay, every religion. Okay, but the problem of it is that we have taken so much and distorted it and taken away from the ancient texts that we don't see it because it's right in front of our face. Okay, when we talk about the the blood wars, we're not just talking Anki and Enlil. We're talking the subservience beyond that and the bloodlines. We're talking Marduk, and we're talking the bloodline of David. We're talking, and I've got it positioned behind me on a board that I'm doing. We as Freemasons, we call it the sacred feminine, and I'm it's all the same thing. When they have legends and stories of Mary, okay, the mother of Jesus, and you have creation stories of basically divine conception, as far as being impregnated, immaculate conception. You're also talking about the Sophia, and the Sophia is something that the Gnostics um, put forth, that this world, she took it upon herself to create the demiurge. Okay, and the demiurge being a minor god, kind of like Enlil, okay, and kind of like Enki, okay. So I compare the term Sophia and the term Mary from mainstream religion and Gnostic religious beliefs to the Sumerian text, and I compared it to none other than the wife of Anu. Anu, the father of Enki and Enlil, the sky father of Enki and Enlil. Okay. Also known in some ancient texts as Kronos. Did you know that? Think about it. When when the Titans were were literally being eaten and consumed by their father, it was legends and stories of these gods being, and plural, being taken on board Nibiru, or craft that Anu was in charge of. And Anu being the sky father, okay, the great spirit, as a lot of indigenous people call him, has stayed in the sky, and the two fractions on the earth, and through their bloodlines and their intermixing of bloodlines over time to become more powerful with prominent families, and we all know who they are, were to fight it out. And then whoever was left on the time frame that Nibiru came back through and Anu showed back up with his realm, he would have divine reign over everybody. Okay, which kind of correlates to the Bible when they talk about Jesus returning. Okay, if you think about it. Okay, now these are all parallels. I'm not saying it's actual and factual. These are what I've researched, what I've experienced through my research, what I know through my research as being above board, as far as being on the money. Enlil's bloodline, also known as the Zeus bloodline. Okay, the bloodline of David, a Norse bloodline, also there, by the way, Eric. And the bloodline of a jealous, said it 3 times, a jealous god, Enlil. Okay, description, identity, perfect for the god Enlil. Okay, literally a jealous god. He will have no gods before him. Okay, which included his brother Enki, and there actually started the blood wars, the bloodline wars, the Anunnaki wars. The reason for the Middle East to be as desolate and barren as it is. Okay, we're talking, like Eric and I have said before in past podcasts, over 3,000 degrees to cause glass to form inside sand. Okay, so that means that you had to have a thermonuclear device back then. Who could only do that? but the Anunnaki. Okay. So there's hidden things throughout our entire history that shows that this stuff has been going on, and it's been recurring over and over and over again. Every time there's a major world war, it's a reset afterwards. Every time. Reset after reset after Civil War, reset after World War One, reset after World War II, reset after the Korean War, reset after the Vietnam War. Okay, there are all these resets. Reset after the Iraqi War. Okay, there's all these resets, and now that you have all these wars and rumors of wars happening, we're in the middle of another reset. That's how they hide it from us. Okay, they divulge it through the Enki bloodline is divulging the information through Hollywood, through certain outlets, okay, to us to give little hints of what's going on, okay. And the reason I say it's the Enki bloodline and not the Enlil is because Enlil wouldn't care. He is not a god, a basically a demigod to be messed with. Okay, he is literally a god that does not suffer the woes of humanity. Okay, they are slaves in his eyes. Okay, not in Anu's eyes, not in his father's eyes, and not in Enki's eyes, but in Enlil's eyes, humanity is just a slave. And how do you keep humanity in the complex matrix simulation that continues time and time again? You distract them. You distract them with religious differences, with fears of their own, with racism, with countries being at war, okay, through materialistic things, through finances, okay. Why on earth would any country in the world be holding a depository for massive amounts of gold unless they knew that one day this would all come ahead and they would have to hand that gold over as payment in tribute to Anu? Think about it. It's just like in the old days in the Bible and in the Sumerian text where it talks about kings being given certain gold amounts and then silver and then precious gems on top of that, usually lapis. Okay. Now here's the thing with lapis. You correlate the gemstone lapis, the most powerful gemstone in the world, as a matter of fact, when it's combined with another crystal, another gemstone, it literally glows blue, like sky blue. Okay. And it gives off a vibrational power when it's together on a bracelet. Okay. Did you know that the wristwatch that the Anunnaki show to be wearing has both those gemstones within it? Literally, because it boosted their power, their vibrational power, their energies. It was literally a battery charger for their energy. Okay. That's why they wore it. Gave them more power. So that being said, you got Enlil's bloodline, which is basically, they're the Trump bloodline, okay, and others, okay, which are Palladian related, okay, which are of Cain and Abel. It's Abel related, not Cain. It's David bloodline, Moses bloodline. It is the Norse bloodline of a jealous God. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. Then the Enki bloodline is a Luciferian bloodline. Okay. You can connect that to Ra and Marduk. Marduk was Ra. Okay. Ra childs. Okay. Ra childs. That's part of the bloodline. Okay. So that being said, let me pop this up here. It goes on to this. You ask yourself why things are happening the way they are. Okay. The Yankee bloodline, the Poseidon bloodline, compared to the Zeus bloodline. Okay. You got the Ra and Marduk. You got the reptilian Earthling bloodline, not the Dracos. Okay. But the reptilian bloodline that was here on this planet to begin with. Okay. That has been here just as long, and if not longer, than Homo sapien. Okay. So we have that, and that's all connected to the Egyptian bloodline. Okay. The Egyptian bloodline is a big one on that. Okay. And possibly even the lost tribe of the Israelites is within that mix. That's kind of questionable, though. Okay. Mermaids and water spirits and dragon lineage and Cain lineage, as in Cain and Abel. Okay. That is the bloodline of Enki. Okay. The Luciferian bloodline. Okay. Now, when we step back and we look at the whole thing between both Anunnaki gods, okay, I kind of liken them unto demigods, because the actual god is their father Anu, the sky father. Okay, so that being said, I look at them as being demigods, but other researchers are going to look at it a little differently. That's fine, but we're all basically divulging the same thing. This has been a vicious cycle and a simulation, hundreds of years after hundreds of years after hundreds of years. It just recycles itself over and over and over again. We ask ourselves how things can be so bad even today, with people being aggressive, people being wanting to harm other people, okay, more often than in the past. And that is because 50% of our humanity is completely soulless. Okay. Completely soulless whatsoever. All right. So we have to remember that is because of the reptilian bloodline. All right. Literally. Okay. So the reptilians are the ones, the archons, that are in charge of keeping this simulation going, to keeping it covertly hidden from humanity by means of materialistic things, by means of war, using certain fears and religion against people, you name it. If they can manipulate humanity with it to keep them in control, they will. That's the purpose of it. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to show you a picture here too of what I mean by reptilian bloodline. And you tell me if this picture doesn't actually make a little sense when you look at people. The distortion of the face is just one thing, okay? And yeah, you can say this is old age and all that. That's fine. But you got to remember the bloodline has been watered down over time, okay? It is literally a bloodline war. The last bit of full humanity bloodline is hidden. They don't want anybody to survive. They don't want humanity to have 1 ounce of blood within their bloodlines anymore. They want to have their gods and their people that have been bred over thousands and thousands of years and diluted that bloodline down to nothing. Okay, and removed the human genies from the species and from the bloodline completely. So they don't have to worry about controlling the humanity, the humans. Okay. They can do it with their own race. Okay. Their own bloodline. So that being said, I just wanted to explain that tonight to everybody. Eric, I don't know what you think about it. I've been going on about 30 some minutes now with it. And there is definitely something to be said about this whole hidden thing with the bloodlines. And, you know, you see it in a lot of the Gnostic stuff that I've been talking about. Okay. Like the tree. And this is the tree of life with 7. Okay. Representation of 7. There's 9 symbols on here,
No.
but it's a
9
representation of
realms.
7 tribes.
9 realms.
Exactly. Exactly. 9 realms and 7 tribes of humanity. So just saying, you know, that you know the correlations you can find if you actually research it and you do it in depth and you don't let nothing distract you. It's amazing what kind of correlations you can make and what kind of dots you can make as far as connecting the dots goes.
Griff's got a question. Does anyone
So
think that the current events in the
yeah, go
Middle
ahead.
East or ongoing Ukraine war have anything to do with upcoming reset, cover-ups, etc.? Me personally, I think it's them getting rid of the cabal.
Yes, and you
The
got to ask yourself, what bloodline is the cabal? That's the thing. Okay.
Luciferian.
See, we call it cabal. We call it the shadow government. We call it, you know, certain religions. Okay, but it's literally a division of the bloodlines, and you know we got to
Mm,
figure out which bloodline is actually being the one that is being separated and thinned out the most. So um, that is why I'm a firm believer in like the Bible and other ancient texts giving us the 10 commandments, which are basically hints of characteristics of the Enki bloodline. Okay. Literally,
mm,
it's just hints, you know, and giving us information in bits and pieces so we can see that side of the bloodline differently from the Enlil bloodline, if you know what I mean.
mm.
So there's certain
Well,
characteristics you look for.
you gotta stop and think about something too. If you study all religions, ancient to some of the modern ones now, all of them talk about a war in the heavens. All of them talk about how these deities fought within the skies and had weapons and light shows like none was seen on Earth before. No human had this type of technology and stuff to do the stuff that they did fighting each other. That's in
Mhm.
every single ancient religion. Then you had the
Yep.
tree of life up there. In Norse, the tree of life is called Yggdrasil. It holds up the 9 realms. Then you had 9 symbols. That's Yggdrasil. You know, 9 symbols, 9 realms.
Exactly.
It's once again. I mean, there's a connection to all that stuff.
Yep. And there's one thing I want to make clear to everybody too. When I talk about the Matrix, I'm literally, you know, I'm not saying we're in like the we're all Neo and we're in this Matrix and we can dodge bullets and shit like that. I'm not saying that. Okay. What I mean by a Matrix is we're in a simulation to make us assume that our lives are normal and ongoing. Okay. Literally just normal and ongoing. Okay. And the one thing that I have figured out is that this construct that we live in, this flesh suit that I call it, okay, a body, Um, most of humanity uses their brain when they think about things. But did you
I don't know if that Tim froze up or me, guys. Is Brother William froze up or am I froze up? He froze? Okay. Um, okay, I just wanted to check to make sure. Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, a lot of this stuff you're going to see, it's written about in all ancient texts throughout the world, and it's the same story with every single religion, every single ancient text. I mean, even the modern Bible talks about the war in heavens, where after it was done, one third of the angels were cast out. Oh, he's gone. So hopefully he'll get back here soon. Uh, so I mean, even in Christianity, they're talking about the war in heavens. Yahuwah says that I'm a god, the God above all gods. He also says, I made man in our image and image of the gods. And when you start reading the Torah, you start seeing more things that's left out. So in so many ancient texts, it's talking about these ancient gods. So many of these ancient texts is talking about these wars in heaven. So many of these ancient texts is talking about how these gods had come descended from the heavens to help mankind. It's all in them. It's all there. Um, no worries, Dead Wolf. Uh, Oh, Griff, yeah, you don't want that. I hope you got some juice to soak them if they get sprayed. Um, all right, you're starting to come back in. But you see all that stuff in all these ancient texts and the symbolisms between all the religions and ancient historical um, beliefs and stuff like that. It's they're all similar. All the similarities are similar. The discussions that are similar. The ideological ideologies, blah 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 blah, is similar and all that stuff like that. And I'm about to shoot my speakers because I think these damn things are possessed. I've turned it off like 20 times now. And it keeps coming back on by itself, and it's got little lights
it's
flashing around on it.
dude, it's not you, it's not your equipment. Okay, I'm telling you right now, it is not your equipment,
Mm,
it's not my equipment. It is literally the energy that the Enlil and Enki bloodline are putting off to silence this knowledge. Okay, literally, that's what it
mm-hmm.
is. Okay, people call it, when you think about when the energy that I was talking about before I got shut out completely, my computer shut down completely and turned off. That never happened before. Okay, so that tells you right there something is being said that's hitting a vital nerve in these bloodlines. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to put this out there while I have everybody on here. I am not suicidal. Okay, I am not going to shoot
Nor
myself
am I.
in the head with a shotgun tied to a tree with my arms behind my back. Okay, like
Or
some of
will
these
I?
other bloodlines have done to other people that speak out. Okay, and you know which ones I'm talking about. Start with a C. Okay, and ends with a ton. Okay, um, and there is just the energy that they put out. Okay, and you can see I've got the tats on my hand right now. You can see the energy that they put out. It's the same energy when we talk about like when we use well they utilized it in where was it? I think it was Belarus recently, where they had tens of thousands of protesters in the streets there, and they used this sonic weapon and played it on the crowd, and you literally see the crowd separate
Mm-hmm.
and run into the buildings on each side of the street. That's the same type of energy I'm talking about that shuts us down. Okay. Because when we strike a nerve and continue to have the balls to talk about this kind of stuff and put it out there in the open, it pisses them off. And they think, well, if he's not afraid of us and he's just a mortal, then we can't let the rest of them hear it. And that's exactly
Mm.
what's going on. Okay. Exactly
Well,
what's
that same
going on.
weapon you were just talking about was tested in Vietnam.
Yep. And
They
it
were
was,
using sound and
yeah. And it was actually improved upon
Mhm.
and currently being used. There was a guy in Nevada, and he lived in a mobile home in Nevada. He was a researcher, and he was a experiencer of being harassed by, let's just call it the shadow government. Okay.
Mhm.
And this guy, until the day he passed away, spoke out every day of his life about how they were using sonic weapons and MK Ultra devices against him to make him seem like he was crazy. Okay. Literally. Okay. These are the same tools that they have perfected over the years and are using against us today, along with the holographic imaging, which is 5G related, the spherical balls that you see in the sky. They are literally devices that the shadow government are using against us to put those signals in the air, in the sky, making us believe we're seeing what we're seeing.
Mhm.
How do I know that? Because a very good friend of mine, I will not give his name up because he's a brother to me. He is a military contractor and an ex special forces. Okay. And he literally has told me flat out, they will kill me if if they figure out I'm telling you this stuff. Okay. And what he told me in some of these underground bunkers and stuff that they've built, these underground dumb facilities, um, is amazing. Okay. I had no idea. And the first thing he told me was they are using these devices called metal orb. Metal orb.
Mm.
Okay. Not orbs, orb. Okay. And he says it's some kind of weird name for these spherical devices that are the size of a basketball, and they put them in the air, and they use some type of an electromagnetic spear force to keep them off the ground, and it levitates and it moves along with the radar facilities, um, giving it the guidance it needs to go across the country and other worlds to other countries, okay, around the whole world, okay. If there is a radar installation at an airport, whether it's NexRad for weather or whatnot, or just regular radar for air traffic control, they use those signals off of those devices to manipulate these devices in the air, which project the imaging, the 5G and 6G imaging, and if not more, that we're seeing in the sky, giving us the illusion that we're seeing what we're seeing. Okay. And he said it was covered under Project Bluebeam, but too many people found out about Project Bluebeam. Okay. Too many people found out about that. All right. So now they're trying to do this whole religious thing. It's the end of the world. Okay. Jesus is returning. You know, where's Jesus going to return from? The sky.
Mhm.
Okay. Where do angels come from? The sky. Okay. Where do aliens come from? The sky. Okay. It's all related. And they don't want this information to be divulged. Plain and simple. Okay.
Mhm.
And they are trying to shut me down and my research down, literally. Okay. They are affecting my equipment. They're literally defeating me. They're defeating me on my electronics. They're defeating me financially. They are literally beating me up. Okay. Because I'm not going to stop talking about it. Okay. That's literally what they're doing. Okay. Urso knows. I'm sure Wu knows, and everybody else in the chat has a feeling about this. This is something that is going on. And it's all because of the hidden bloodline wars. They don't want, they could care less about their cattle. That's what we are. Okay. That's what we are. We are literally their cattle. We're good enough to mine their gold,
Yep.
and that's about it. And that's what we've done. Think about it. Think about all the thousands upon thousands of mines across this country and every other country in the world. Think about all the dangerous places that humanity has had to go in search of gold or lapis.
Lead,
Think about it. Do
lithium,
your
silver.
yeah, do your own research about it. You know, you'll know. You will literally know. So, you know, when they say that it's, oh, these wars are because the oil in the ground, well, they're correct. I mean, there is parts of the ground that they want, but it's more blood wars than anything. You know, grudge wars, wars to control everything, everything that humanity is a part of. That's why the demiurge and the archons have devised, and when I use the term demiurge and the archons, I'm using the term demigod, false gods, fallen angel, to correlate with that, and the Anunnaki, Enlil and Enki. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, keep that in the back of your mind. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the demiurge. The archons could be like demons. You can classify them as demons. You can even classify them as gray aliens. Think about it. You know, if you classify the archons as gray aliens, kind of makes sense. Think about all the humans and the cattle and stuff out there that have been abducted, researched on, had medical experiments on, and been dropped onto the ground with no blood. Think about it. It is all related, people. I'm telling you. And if we can go back through a lot of the ancient scriptures, like a lot of us researchers are doing currently and are being silenced, we would understand that. We would know that, and the word would get out. And it might suppress them from doing as much damage as they want to. But they don't want us around anymore. They want their own bloodline around. Okay? Plain and simple. So, you know, you can take my words for what it's worth, but my whole purpose of this is to prove, like what I have back here behind me, okay, on my boards, and on my boards all over the place, I've got written down stuff. You know, I'm sending copies of this stuff to Eric so he has it. It literally is, everything is connected, literally. And we're given bits and pieces through Hollywood and other areas because it's the Yankee bloodline doing it. Okay. The Yankee bloodline doesn't want dominating humanity. Okay. They don't want a jealous God, okay, in control. They want humanity to have the free will to screw up, because the more humanity screws up, the more energy they can absorb. Okay. And they can absorb that vibrational energy, and that little wristband that they're wearing that looks like a watch that everybody thinks is a watch, and oh yeah, I got my idea about that. No, it is literally a regenerator. It is literally a battery recharge for their energy. In other words, they can take that wristwatch that they're showing that they're wearing, that round wristwatch. Okay, and I'm going to show you here, Eric. That round watch that they're wearing. Take a look. Now tell me that you can't correlate the design on that tree of the Gnostic 7 tenets, okay, the 9 realms, to that watch, along with, remember, I talked a couple weeks ago about the slice of our DNA. If you take it and you slice it like a cucumber, okay, and you look at it, you have the same design on a lot of the ancient churches. Think about it. The medallion windows are literally representations of humanity's DNA, which is manipulated by their devices that they wear on their wrist. Okay, literally. So, when I talk about this stuff, I'm not talking to blow sunshine up people's ass. I don't care about blowing sunshines up people's ass. All right. I don't care about who I offend. When I talk about this, I am literally taking my research verbatim, okay, and disclosing this at a very high risk. Okay. And even with my background, I'm still watching my 6. I may be disabled because of the cancer, but by God, I'm not dead and I'm not stupid. Okay. I can still defend myself. So I watch myself. That's why I have FAFO on my hand. That's the way it is. They are literally going after researchers now. And this is getting to the point right now where the ones that are talking about it and disclosing it, they're either A, shutting us down, or they're finding some way to make us look delusional. Okay. And it's sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, but anyways, I just wanted to put that out there to everybody and let everybody know that there is definitely a lot more going on than what you're seeing in the news, what you're seeing on social media. Okay. You can't, I put it out the other day on social media. You can't trust influencers. All those people that you watch that go to the grocery store and say, oh, look at this sales. This item's on sale. Oh, buy 5 for $1, marked down from $2.99 each. Those people are literally the people that are being paid by whatever you want to call them, the bloodline that's in control of the materialistic end of it. Okay. And they're literally paid to influence you to buy stuff. That's how this vicious cycle keeps on going, people. Okay. It's in plain sight, right in front of us. And we just don't see it. I'm an outcast that sees too much. A lot of us researchers that talk about this are deemed conspiracy theorist nuts. Okay. And it's not that at all. If you look at the actual research and the history, and you take it and you look at it at every aspect, every ancient publication, every ancient text, tablet, copper scrolls, emerald tablets, cuneiform, you interpret it all, okay? And you'll find bits and pieces that add up. I'm telling you, folks, you will find it, okay? It is literally a world that you cannot see. Literally. You can't see it because they don't want you to see it, okay? The stuff that you're seeing in the sky, don't pay it too much attention. That's just my opinion, okay? Now, from my research, you guys take it for what it's worth, okay? I'm just here to forewarn you, okay? So I'm gonna drink some coffee and take a breather, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and you can bring up questions. I'll try to help you with answering them.
Yeah, I've got to get back up to one. There's one that Bounty asked. I've got to get back up to. As I'm looking for that, you were talking about the shadow government, and I got a favorite horror movie from the '80s that I just absolutely love. And it's called Friday the 13th with Jason Voorhees. And every time I think about this shadow government and stuff like that, they remind me too much of Jason Voorhees. No matter what you do,
Exactly.
that crackhead finds you. No matter how many times you think you unalive it, he comes back from the dead. It's just like this daggone shadow government.
Exactly. And I kind of liken it like Freddy Krueger, because,
Yeah.
they have the power to manipulate your dream state. And they have done that. You have people coming out talking about the MK Ultra. What do you think MK Ultra was? It was a dream state manipulation. Okay, Urso knows. Urso in the chat, he knows. I'm sure he does, and several others. Arkeem Ra. He's another one that speaks out about the MK Ultra and the stuff that happened at Montauk. So but it's getting to the point where it's getting dangerous because we're talking about it and we're exposing it. Okay. And now with the onset of AI, they say, oh, AI is too stupid to realize what's going on. They still have the mind capacity of a child. They can't make decisions on their own. They got to ask, for guidance from humanity, their creators. And I claim bullshit on that because I have worked with AI over the last week, and I have seen answers that are so methodically thought out and thoroughly thought out, and answers that will deceive you and make you think that they were human, literally. But we all know what's going to happen with the onset of AI. It's going to literally replace, humanity. And maybe that's what the archons and the demiurge and the Enki and the Enlils want. I don't believe. Do we have it reversed? Okay. Do we have these Anunnaki blood wars reversed? Do we want the jealous God and we'll have no gods before him that enslaves humanity? Or do we want the lesser God that wants to free humanity's mind and teach us things to make us as smart, if not as equal, but smart enough to almost be equal to the gods? Because that's what it says in a lot of the ancient texts, is what he's trying to do. Okay. Now we need to discern which one is good and which one is evil. That's the problem. We have been deluded so much and disinformation so much over the thousands of years with things being removed that from certain bloodlines that were in control at certain times, that it makes it difficult for us to discern which one is good and which one is evil. Okay. Now I say I say screw them both and let Anu, the father, the Sky Father, take care of it. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what a lot of the texts talk about, is Anu coming back and basically putting the smackdown on him. So now that's just my opinion and from my own research. So, but by all means, let's get some questions going here.
Okay. Bounty asked, how would you interpret if a relative gave you 2 quarters and told you they heard from a deceased relative to give them to you? And you'll be surprised how often that actually happens. I'd say it's probably a really good possibility.
Yeah. And see, there's one thing, Bounty, that we have to remember too when we're dealing with the supernatural part of it. There have been incidences reported of coins falling out of the sky out of nowhere. Okay, pennies, quarters, nickels, dimes, all that. Okay, even ancient coins falling out of the sky out of nowhere, to kind of let us know that there's more. There's so much we don't see. Okay, and it's a supernatural thing related to a lot of the demonic type of activity. But I'm a firm believer. It's just like having a family member say, you know what, I want my grandchild, that's still alive, to know that their grandpa or their grandmother's still here, and I'm going to send a cardinal to them because they know it was my favorite bird. Or I'm going to send a butterfly to them because they know this son of butterfly was my favorite butterfly. Or I'm going to send this praying mantis to them because they know that I loved praying mantises. It's the same
Mhm.
concept. I'm going to leave a feather on their path that they're going to walk today. It's the same concept as the pennies and the quarters and all that. Spirit has a way of being able to process things that we have no comprehension of, okay, and that we can't understand.
Mhm. Uh,
Any other questions?
some of it was not really question statements, which I kind of talked about. People say, "Oh, we're getting ready to start into a war." We've been in a World War III for the last 8 to 10 years. It's just not a typical war that you think of.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
it's
nothing.
it's a silent war. It's a hidden war.
Mm, yeah, it's You better not puke
Sorry,
under my chair. I'll puke your gut.
I'm getting more
Uh,
coffee. So hold on.
you're all good. Um,
Like I need more
yeah,
caffeine. Uh,
but yeah, I mean, look at that Springfield Commercial Club investigation I was doing on towards the end of part two. You're going to have a entity I was talking to saying that they were my relative. They said that I was their son, and when I asked it the question, "Can you talk to my loved ones from the past?" and it says sometimes. So getting messages like that definitely is a good possibility.
exactly. And it happens quite a bit.
Hmm. Yep.
Any other questions?
I'm looking in here.
Come on, people.
Yeah,
I'd kind
that
of like to
is
know.
100% correct, Griff.
No, go ahead, Griff. Not all wars are
Not
fought
saying that.
with. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's very true, Griff.
You're seeing the soft disclosure coming out now. This is stuff there's things that happened around 8 years ago, um, and we're slowly starting to see it come to the light now. They're not going to expose it all at once because some
Don't
of it.
go
Good
into
night, Griff.
the light. Don't go into the
uh,
light.
most people can't handle the sheer volume of corrupted people and corruption that they were doing. But you're slowly starting to see this stuff come to the light right now. If you know what to look
Exactly.
for, if you actually pay attention, you're going to see it. And it's stuff that I've been saying for the last 6 years was, hey, and this is going to happen. This has happened, and it's going to be leaked out, and blah blah blah. It's starting to happen now. I mean, I've got people's like, "Damn, you were right," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. I know
Yep.
people, so I know what's going on."
Yep.
Usually I say
Exactly.
this is a rumble talk, but I mean, that's why I'm being very choosy on my words. But yeah, we're starting to see it. I mean, look at all these certain entities being arrested, certain entities being charged, certain entities losing their money, certain entities getting in trouble by Supreme Courts. Um, I mean,
Just obey.
everything. Yeah, everything that I've been saying is it's happening now. It's just going to happen very slowly, so that it doesn't blow people's minds, and not everybody's going to believe it. Sorry. I mean, just people will not accept that this happened and that they let it happen. So there will be people that absolutely, no matter what happens, um, they're not going to accept it. Stop and think about this for a moment. I can tell you now for a fact because I've witnessed this with my very own eyes. I travel main roads 10 hours a day, 4 days a week at a bare minimum. I mean, that's bare minimum. 10 hours a day, well, actually 12 hours a day, 4 days a week. I've seen more military movement going on these last 3 or 4 weeks than I have my entire time up in here. And there's certain
I've seen them
things that's
going over
getting
my
ready to
house.
happen. Yeah, there's certain things that's gonna happen that this is the reason why you're seeing these chess pieces uh, go into play right now, getting moved around, getting ready to make the move to take the board, and it's gonna suck. Uh, it's gonna hurt, but the outcome when it's done is going to be way better than anything you could imagine. You guys have heard me talk about it. We're going to be going to a higher dimensional way of being. That is fixing to happen. Everything that we've been waiting on to take place for this to come to fruition has now happened, and we're starting to see it take fruition. So that's why I say we have been in a war for the last 8 or 10 years. A
Yep.
certain somebody, he was called America's son. And this individual had a very famous father. Um, a certain individual tied to this certain father was mentioned in a chat by Corey a minute ago. Said that when he graduated law school, he says, "Now I can go after those who went after my father." And then, supposedly, we'll just leave it at that. Um, this individual had a very bad accident. But I can tell you now, this individual didn't have that accident. So you're getting ready to see things come to the light. Yeah, yeah. I've been seeing a ton of it on I-44, Roxanne. A ton of military activity on I-44.
Yep. And we're going to see a lot
You
more
into,
of it.
yeah. You into black magic? I knew a chap that dealt with dark stuff who somehow sent vibes ahead so people knew he was nearby. That does happen. I mean, people emanate a frequency, and some people could pick up on it. And depending on your level of frequency, is depending on what they're picking up. If somebody's
I can
full
do
of
it.
hate, anger, evil, dark intentions, people's going to pick up, and you're going to feel like a weight is on you. The air
It,
feels
it,
thicker.
it doesn't even have to be a dark energy. I could do it just normally. Let people know in advance that they have this, they'll feel a tingle down their spine or a ringing in their ears, that, or see a certain thing like a hawk or something, which is my spirit animal. I have a way of sending out that vibe too, to people and letting them know in advance that I'm coming. So,
Yeah,
I've had the ability to do it my whole life. And,
yeah,
just because of my condition right now doesn't mean I still can't do it. I can still do it. So, that's another
yeah.
thing too, that,
Corey.
when you correlate a lot of the old, what do they call it? The old beliefs. Okay. Whether it's,
Mm,
Appalachian beliefs and, through, heritage and all that of the Appalachians, and other areas of the world, like with the ringing in the ears and stuff, and seeing certain signs. Those are all correlated because this world is literally governed under supernatural circumstances. Okay. The physical governments that are in place know that. Okay. And they work in conjunction with the one of the two bloodlines that I was talking about earlier.
mhm.
Okay. Literally. Okay. So, but we have to interpret which one is the one that's going to have our best interest at heart and not want us unalived,
Mhm.
or being slaves to them, or do we trust the ones that want to give us knowledge and enlighten humanity more? Now, you can't really depend on on the history. Okay, the written history in textbooks and stuff is written usually by the victors. Okay,
Mhm.
which is usually mainstream religion and those type of influential countries. Okay, so Napoleon was a big one that basically, helped to eliminate certain ideas back in his days. Hitler was another one that basically quieted certain ideas, but yet at the same time, he opened up the esoteric part of it, the hidden stuff that a lot of governments wanted to keep hidden from humanity. So, there's so many things, that are related to happening together, even through history, but it's so diluted to where we can interpret it. You know what I mean? Because it's been dissected and taken apart and put back together by certain bloodlines that want to control humanity. And that's all it is, literally.
Yeah. Marty, I don't want to put that your statement up to your question up too much. To answer your question, that's basically what I'm getting around at. But we can't say that here. That's why I didn't leave it up for very long. Um, but yes, that's part of what I'm talking about. That is getting ready to come into full effect because everything that we've been waiting for to happen in order for that to be kicked off has happened. And that's why you're starting to see everything. I just can't say those words on here. But yes, absolutely. And that is very much what I'm talking about. People don't realize. So you're seeing this unrest going around the world right now, and that's because the time has come that Jason Voorhees is going to be put to rest permanently. So that's why you're seeing everything happen that's happening. There's another question here, and I got to figure out where it went now. Okay. Heifer, I've always was taught you got to go to sweat and pray, and that I could be wrong, but that's what I was always told. Um, I mean, William's gonna know that better than me. She wants to know how do you
Man, yeah,
find
if
out
William
what
can
your
read it,
spirit
I,
animal
I, I
doesn't
just
have?
tired.
Yeah. Uh,
Spirit.
I forgot where I left off on her. How do you find out what your spirit animal is? Your favorite animal? Mine is a lioness taking care of her pride, but waiting for her king.
Well, honestly, this heifer, your spirit animal, it can be correlated to your favorite animal because mostly your favorite animal is going to be something that you see or interact with most of the time. Okay. Um, that's the same thing with your spirit animals or what they call totem animals. Okay. Totem spirits. All right. What you do is it's a representation of which animals, whether it's the winged, the four-legged, or the no-legged, that come to you and interact with you on a regular basis. Okay, or you see it more often. Okay, it's ones that like you'll be walking in down a path or something, and you'll find like a certain feather, over and over and over again, and that animal spirit is actually attached to you that way too. It's a way of showing you. Um, it's some people think that when it crosses your path, like say a hawk. If you see a hawk and it flies across your path when you're driving down the road, that could be a sign, okay, that's your spirit animal. But you have to see it more than once. It has to be repeated time and time again. Okay, whether you see it nestled in a tree or whether you see it flying off in a distance, the same with deer. If deer come close to your house or on your property a lot, you could have that spirit animal. Okay, the same with bear, the same with big cats. Everything. It's usually something, a representation of what you see more often or you interact with more often through either they give you gifts or you just see it, okay, and interact with it that way. So, but that's usually the best way to interpret your spirit animals.
Yeah. For me, I see many different kinds of animals daily through here, and at work. I mean, owls, crows, uh, hawks, eagles,
Yeah.
turkeys,
Your spirit animals,
deer.
you can have. There's no limit to what I mean. Everybody thinks that there's a limit to how many spirit animals you can have. That's not true.
Mm,
Okay, you can have as many spirit animals as 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 the creator wants you to have. Okay, as spirit
mm,
wants you to have, but you have basically your 10 specific totem ones, okay, which are your
mm,
specific spiritual medicines that we interpret, okay, like that of the hawk being the messenger, okay, or the owl being the messenger, the crow, representation of law, the igumu, the mountain lion, as strength, um, the wolf as basically protection, loyalty, that type of thing. The eagle as wisdom, you know. You know, there's each animal has a certain spiritual representation. So whichever ones you see the most, usually you can take the top 10, and that's where you're going to get your medicine from, your spiritual medicine from.
mm.
Okay, so
Yeah, because I got coyote. It runs through here. I've got red wolf that runs through here. I've got the Missouri timber wolf that runs through here all the time. I got cougars. I got bears. I got Bigfoot. I got a whole host of things that run
yeah,
here through here all
just,
the time.
just keep in mind though, Eric, it's not just because they run through your property. You have to
Mm.
literally be able to see them and interact with them
Yeah, that's what I'm
physically in
talking about.
some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay,
talking about. Even
so
fox. I see fox all the time here too. Gray fox and red fox. I see fox here all the time too. This is stuff I see damn near on a daily basis. The bear, not so
you're just
much. Uh,
you're just a foxy, fluffy guy.
I am. Arrrr. Uh, um, but no, I mean, I interact with a lot of different wildlife on here on a daily basis. I mean, just nonstop, all the time. I mean, and that's not just here; that's at work too. Because I work out in the county for 10 hours a day, and I'm interacting with some of the same animals on a daily basis as there too. I mean, snake, turtles. I mean, everything. Now, but I've talked about stuff that I see here very commonly. That's why I love it here because I'm surrounded by all that stuff. Where
Right.
I've got a very deep connection with my animal brothers and sisters. Uh, we go through life. I'm trying to remember. This is part of the medicine wheel. So you start off in life on the white, the birth, which is you generally represented by a mouse. Mouse is smart, but mouse just sees what's right in front of him. And everybody's got a certain level that they're born into. Now you can upgrade and become better and change that, but you can also go back down too. But generally, you start out as mouse. Mouse only sees what's in front of them. Then sometimes,
Right.
okay, then you got white. You got was it yellow? That's next. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Which is south, which is childhood. I can't. Man, now I can't remember. I had it all in my head, now I forgot it all. But different type of animals have different types of powers, different types of abilities, and it's much like that in human life as well. And so many people today is still stuck with mouse. They only see what's directly in front of them. They can't see. They ain't like hawk where they can see further out
Yep.
and see more. They're not. They're not like uh, bear who's strong. And that's something that we deal with all the time.
Exactly.
Sad but true.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the whole medicine wheel deal. It's been I had most of it in my head, but it's been probably 4 years since I looked into it. Was kind of learning it. There's a lot to the medicine wheel people don't understand. The medicine wheel is very, very sacred, very, very important. And there's not just one or two things to know. You don't just need to know, hey, it's east, the direction of birth. Hey, it's south, childhood. Hey, it's west, adulthood. Hey, it's north, old age and death. No, there is more stuff that leads off of that. It leads off of that. That leads off of that. That leads off. It's to understand medicine wheel takes a very long time because there's so much involved with medicine wheel, and it's very important. But the basic concept you need to know, it's made for circles. There's a great circle of life. What happens to one has a ripple effect that happens to all. You keep that as probably one of the most key things to keep very important. But it's important to know the colors, the directions. When you have a lodge, you're supposed to face opening to the east. Therefore, when you come out of your lodge, it's like being reborn into the world. And then when you go into your lodge, it's like going back into the womb of your mother to be reborn again. Every time you leave your lodge, you should be leaving it in the concept of you're being reborn.
Did you know?
And that's
Did you know? Did you know also that when you do the sweat lodge, that the reason the lodge door faces east on a sweat lodge is because it's coming out of the womb of Mother Earth, but also
hmm
it's a representation of the fire pit in correlation to the door of the sweat lodge, representing basically the umbilical cord. The
hmm
umbilical cord from Mother Earth to you when you're in the sweat lodge, because you're literally being reborn after you sweat. So,
yeah. I mean, when you go in there for your humblesha, you're going in there for a vision quest. You're seeking knowledge from the good spirits and your ancestors. And I'm always asking the good spirits and the ancestors for guidance. That's something that we
sweat
have
lodge,
got to do.
yeah, yeah. And Nipi, sweat lodge is something we do prior to Humblatia and
Yeah,
after Humblatia, to interpret our vision. So,
I know.
um, Humblatia is separate from the Anipi ceremony, but it's actually a part of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I got it mixed up for a second. As soon as you said that, I went, "Oh yeah, that's right." I'm going on like a couple hours of sleep, so I'm kind of brain dead at the moment. I'm trying to. I got a picture of the medicine wheel. There it is. I want to bring it up and share it so you guys can get kind of an idea what we're talking about. But all things, paranormal, supernatural, living, whatever it is, we're all connected to this. I mean, even
yeah,
everything we discussed tonight is we're connected to this.
exactly. That's why it's called the bloodline wars.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why I kind of getting this a little bit because I think it's important for people to know. I got it opened up in a different program so I can enlarge it.
All right.
So
Now,
good now.
if I can work it out, if I can work it out tomorrow or Sunday, um, with the morning program, I know ECBRO, Daniel Benoit, and David and Melissa and everybody are involved into the ECBR Bigfoot event in Wires. I think it's Wires Cave, Virginia, this weekend, starting today, Saturday and Sunday. If you can go there and support them, if you're in the area, if you can hear my voice and you're within driving distance, go there and support them. Okay. I wish I could have been there, but I am literally without transportation. So that, that's just that. But, if you can, if you're in the area or if you're, an hour or two away, maybe you can drive there and basically, help them out. And it's a big event. There's plenty of speakers, plenty of food vendors. I believe they also have this year. They have the reenactments of the basically the nights and stuff, um, from like the King Arthur stuff, which is pretty cool. If you ask me, I'd love to get on a horse and joust with somebody, knock them off their
Mm-hmm.
pony. But go there and support them if you can. Ghost Dragon, I see you're in the chat. I want to reach out to you, give you the opportunity. I know you say you're going to be talking to Gemma. So if we can make it, we'll do it sometime, maybe this Sunday or next weekend. We can arrange it to do a special about the Glimmer Man. Um, tomorrow morning, we're going to be going and delving into a combination of things. We're going to be getting into the what people in Kentucky are experiencing called the Whisper Man, otherwise known as the Whisper Monster. Okay, we're going to be delving into that. So all of you from Kentucky, you may want to listen, or that area. Anybody that's heard a whisper in the dark and when they're out camping or something, you might want to pick up on that tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Go ahead, Eric. Talk what
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about, and I'm going to have some coffee and give my voice a rest.
Yeah. So I got my colors mixed up. Yellow is east, the direction of birth, which also represents spring. Um, then you got south, which is childhood, red, summer. Um, you got west, which is adulthood, black, fall. North, which is old age and death, winter. These are other connections you have amongst the medicine wheel as well. This is something
Exactly.
very, very important.
And one thing too, you got to remember too, though, yellow is a representation of the sunrise, red is a
Mm-hmm.
representation of the sun at high noon, and black
Mm-hmm.
is a representation of the sunset. So,
So you guys see how this is all connecting? Everything has multiple meanings within the medicine wheel. I mean, we've only covered a drop in the bucket of everything that is involved with the medicine wheel. That's just powerful magic. This is
yep,
good magic. It's powerful, and it's something that we as humans have forgot. Um, but it's extremely important to know this stuff. But there's also animals that's tied with them, and if correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, but I believe your totem animals may have a part to deal with where you lie on the medicine wheel as well. I
exactly. And
can't.
also, when you are first set out on the spiritual,
Uh oh, we lost William again. We'll wait for him to get back. It's the third time they've kicked him. um, he's gone silent. We'll see if he can get it fixed. But I mean, when we're talking about bloodlines, all this stuff is tied to that as well. This is just, I mean, it's just you guys do what you want, but my advice is learn medicine. Will learn it because it's extremely important. He's still up there, but I still can't hear him. I wonder if he's froze up. Nope, lost him. um, so even though these represent a certain stage of your life, these colors also represent a a way of your life. So you can be yellow, but your life is more black. Um, so it's just it's a lot of stuff involved on that. It's very 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 sacred, very very important. Um, but yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm wondering that myself. This is the third time they've kicked him off, and it's all right. We'll wait till he gets back in here. Oh, pardon me, Dad. That came up on me quick. So But that's sad. Is that's one of the things that William and I try to do. We try to get you from um, the mouse into something more. You can see more. You know more. You can do more. Mouse can only. I think I do. Corey, he's coming back in. I know he's not. Never mind. It's my YouTube backing the deal up quite a bit. Uh, I believe it's on my deal and not on Williams. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Yahuwah does a lot of great work, but if you study medicine, you'll be surprised on um, how much um, his teachings and Yeshua's teachings coincide with the medicine wheel. So, but you must treat everything with respect. That's key. Treat everything with respect. I'm trying to see if I got any questions here I've missed. Uh, it feels like it, Joanne. It does feel like it. Um, Storms are. I wrote a poem, and I'm trying to find it because I don't know where it went. But I wrote a poem that dealt with like the four seasons. The four seasons is very, very important. In the spring, you got the rains and the storms, which takes away the dead and decay to provide for new growth, life. East, you got summer, which bakes and allows you to do more stuff. Your childhood, heat. I'm trying to remember, man. I wrote this thing like 12 years ago, and I'm trying to go off of memory. I don't know what happened to it. Then you got fall. Fall, things are starting to cool down. Things are changing. Things are going into its sleep stage. Adulthood. Oh, there he is. He's coming back in. Going into your sleep state. Then you got winter. Winter's destructive. Winter unalives the weak. And then once that changes again back to spring, well, spring then again washes everything out. If I can find out where I'll put that poem at, I'll try to put it up on my Patreon or something. But these are the elements, and all the elements are tied to it as well. There you are.
Hey, yeah, they
Number
just shut my
number
computer
3.
down again for the third time this evening. So, yeah, I'm gonna get off of here. Things are getting a little intense.
Mhm.
Ghost Dragon, get a hold of me after the podcast if you're awake. Um, Message me. Um, there are forces involved in what we talked about tonight, folks. There are forces that you cannot comprehend. Okay, forces that I, as a child and growing up Native American in the dark arts, I dealt with, and these forces, they don't like me talking about stuff like this tonight. They don't want you to be enlightened. Okay, they don't want you to have knowledge. They don't want you to have that sacred knowledge. Okay, the knowledge of Enki. Okay, like we talked about in the two bloodlines. Okay, in the beginning of the podcast. Um, if you missed it, go back and watch it. Okay, because you're going to want to. All right, it's the first 45, 50 minutes of the podcast, where I disclose a lot about the bloodline wars. There's so much that we as human beings can't perceive unless we have interacted with these things our entire lives. Okay, and even then, it's limited access. They're not giving us full access. They're giving us bits and pieces. So, but that being said, tomorrow morning we are going to have at 11 a.m. the Whisper Man, the Whisper Monster, whatever you want to call him, of Kentucky. We're going to be going over that and some of the lure behind that. And we're also going to get into a discussion about the crossroads. So a very, very fascinating subject, and I think it's a good one. And then hopefully, if Ghost Dragon and Gemma can come on Sunday, we can have a Glitter Man discussion. So, but that being said, I got that out there. I want everybody to have a great night. Thank you for hanging in there. I know they've been messing with my electronics for a long time now, throughout this entire hour and 45 minutes. But you know, they're going to keep on trying until they succeed. You know, that's just the way it is. Okay, just the way it is. And you know, that's why I always tell you guys to question everything. You have that right. You know, question everything, man, and don't show fear. The moment you show fear, you're theirs. You are theirs. Plain and simple. Okay, so don't show any fear. Okay, you got to have a backbone in this. This fight is not going to be easy. All right. This struggle has been a fight, a secret bloodline war for thousands upon thousands of years. It's not going to end overnight. Okay. So that being said, Eric, why don't you go ahead and let them know what you got going on this weekend? I will see everybody 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then we'll go through it all over again. Okay. About the Whisper Man or Whisper Monster, whatever you want to call him, and the Crossroads and Mr. Johnson. So anyways, Eric, you take it, and when you're done, I'll just go ahead and play the outro.
Yep. So tomorrow is going to be campfire chats with Eric and guest. That's a safe place for you to come and share your encounters. If you just want to talk about it in chat, we'll talk about it in chat. If you want to come on live, I'll bring you on live and we'll kind of talk about it. I haven't got anything posted yet. I've been busy. I've spent a good portion of the day after I dropped my daughter off to work at the library and the local newspaper trying to do research on a book that I've been writing on that I'm kind of stuck until I get the research done. Tomorrow I got to go and meet with the historical society that has the information that I'm looking for. I got a hold of them today finally. So I'm like a little behind on my stuff. If I can get a hold of Bigfoot Dwarf, I'm going to see if he can come on with me Sunday. We'll try to do another Bigfoot show. But I've got to figure out how to get a hold of him to see if we can get that lined up. So I don't know what Sunday's show is about right now. But I've been working today, all day today, and we'll be working part of the day tomorrow on getting the information I need for that Western that I'm writing, Barrett Start of a Legend. That's pretty much what I got going on.
Awesome. Anyways, everybody, please share this out. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Everything, hit that icon for the bell notification for all the lives and stuff. There's information put out here for a reason, and they don't want you to know it. Okay, plain and simple. All right, you have that right. You have that right to question everything. I say it every day. Okay, I say it every minute of the day. You have that right. Don't show them fear. Don't back down. Okay, question everything. God bless you all, and we will see you all in the morning.
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.
In the dead of night, I hear them whisper. Shadows dance on walls, growing crisper. Echoes of the past, they start to rise. Monsters lurking deep beneath the skies. Fear grips my heart. I can't escape. Bump in the night, where the fears collide. Monsters awaken, nowhere to hide. Shadows are Moonlight reveals the horrors unseen, whispers of darkness haunting my dream. Figures that twist in the corners of sight. I shiver alone in the grip of the night. Creatures of shadow